Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to Genus Power Infrastructures Limited Q3 and 9 months FY21 earnings conference call. This conference call may contain forward-looking statements about the company, which are based on the beliefs, opinions, and expectations of the company as on date of this call. These statements are not the guarantees of future performance and involve risks and uncertainties that are difficult to predict. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions at the end of the presentation. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Kailash Agarwal, Vice Chairman of Genus Power Infrastructures Limited. Thank you, and over to you, Mr. Agarwal.
Thank you. Thanks. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome to the Q3 FY21 earnings calls of Genus. Along with me on this call is Mr. Jitendra Agrawal, Joint MD of the company, and SGA, our Investor Relation Advisor. The results and investor presentations are already uploaded on the stock exchange and company website, and I hope that you people must have seen that. Our capacity utilization remains subdued in this quarter due to muted volume of offtake on account of postponement of dispatches of meters to forthcoming quarters. This is primarily on account of customer-centric nature of our business, which requires human interventions for installation of meters. So though the effect of COVID-19-led disruptions on business operation has dissipated, but the overhang is likely to remain on business operation for this fiscal year. However, we anticipate witnessing a smart recovery for the entire Indian metering industry in FY22. The thrust from the government of smart meter is bound to further increase, as these meters are the key catalyst for reducing the aggregate technical and commercial AT&C losses faced by DISCOMs due to non-realization of total billed amount. Thus, we foresee the forthcoming period of next 6 to 7 years to be extremely rewarding to Indian metering industry, as the government embarks upon its mission to have a compulsory prepaid and smart metering component to be implemented across the power distribution chain, including almost about 250 million households. I give you a little snapshot of the results. As in the third quarter, we have recorded a sales of 160 crores compared to 165 crores in Q2. The revenue growth was impacted by subdued volume of take by SEBs. EBITDA profit for this quarter stood at 29 crores as compared to 34 crores in second quarter. The fall in operating profit was on account of product mix, higher employee costs, and overheads built in anticipation of higher order book execution. Profit after tax PAT stood at 18 crores, up by 164% as against 7 crores in Q2 21. However, kindly note that one-time provision was taken of the past litigation of Vivad se Vishwas in PAT of Q2 21. Cash PAT stood at 23, increase of 81% as against 13 crores in Q2 21. We are confident of significant improvement in our business operations in Q4 FY21 as the volume of take improves. The current order book is 1,005 crores, which gives a healthy visibility of growth over next 3 to 4 quarters. One thing I would like to bring in your notice that as a part of our efforts to sharpen the focus of the management team, we are undertaking business restructuring wherein company investment in non-listed group entities is being demerged and amalgamated into another listed company, Genus Prime Infra Limited, in lieu of which Genus Prime will issue its shares to shareholders of Genus Power. I would also like to inform you that two eminent personalities have joined us in our board, as independent director, and Dr. Keith Mario Torpy as non-executive, non-independent director. Mr. Subhash Chandra Garg has served as Economic Affairs Secretary and Finance Secretary in the Ministry of Finance and as a Secretary in the Ministry of Power, and it will enable us to further bolster our internal controls and fortify our corporate policies with the commitment to maximize value of our shareholders. Dr. Keith Mario also is a respected person, is a highly respected professional with over 25 years of global experience in the field of smart metering, which will enable us in building new platforms of growth, expanding international footprints, and securing our long-term growth. I now request all of you for the question and answer session. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Priyanka Singh from Atidan Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. I had couple of questions. The first one is what is the share of exports in Q3 revenue, and what is our current order book?
Order book in exports?
No, sir. So what is the share of exports in as a part of the total revenue for the quarter?
The order book for the exports is around 70 crores out of the 1,005 crores orders that we have. So export order is 70 crores. And for the quarter 3, exact number
is 31 crores. 31 crores.
Okay. Also in the previous phone call, you had mentioned that export opportunities will open up due to COVID. How are we seeing the progress on that front?
Some very good opportunities are still going on, but they're pretty slow. We are not seeing the revamping in the international market the way we expected. Speed has been little slow, especially in countries like Malaysia, Bangladesh, where we were closely working on a couple of opportunities of them. So these are little slow still, but yes, these opportunities are alive, and I see them a good, I would say a good probability in next couple of months or 2 to 3 months. Yes, they are running late, but these opportunities are fairly good.
Let me clear. It's not 31 crores, it's 3 crores. Sorry, and the total for 9 months is 23 crores.
Okay. And also, can you share some picture on the business restructuring that we are undertaking, and how was the valuation done for the same?
Basically, there is some investments and some advances in some group companies and non-group companies, which we have already made as a separate division. If you see last 2 quarters results, you will see that there is a separate division the company has recognized of almost 106, 107 crores. So that division is going out from the company as company wants to focus on the core activity, that is the meter manufacturing. And that is going out, and the valuation already we have right now. I don't have the valuation numbers. We have given when we have given an announcement to the exchange. I think it's almost for every 6 shares of Genus Power, we getting 1 share of Genus Prime of 2 paid up, and Genus Power share is 1 paid up.
Okay. Got it. And how do we see the gas metering business to pan out over the next 2 to 3 years? And what is the revenue that we are targeting, let's say by FY23?
Gas meter?
Gas metering business.
Yeah, gas metering you're talking about. Hello?
Hello?
Can you hear me? You're talking about gas meters, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, gas metering business.
The gas metering business, the outlook is same, what I shared in the last call also. And we expect this industry to become right now it's pretty small, but a lot of opportunities are coming up. And we have a good sweet spot in the industry. We are already approved with many of the clients. Recently, we received an order of 10,000 gas meters from Green Energy. And already a very good opportunity of 50,000 meters we are very close to get that opportunity also very, very soon. So gas meter has a very good future. And this industry will become my estimates are, this should become a 800 to 1,000 crore industry in 2 to 3 years. And we should have our own, we are expecting at least 15% market share, if not more. We will play a big role in the gas metering business in the times to come.
Okay, sir. And one just follow-up on this. What would be the operating margin?
In what? In gas meters?
Yeah, correct.
Gas meters you can compare with, because it's like you can compare it to a single phase meter for electronics. So it will be almost same. I'm not seeing anything much different in that.
Okay. And just one last question. Could you provide any guidance for FY22 in terms of revenue and margin?
Next financial year.
Correct.
Next financial year, we are, I would say conservatively confident that we will do 1,200 should be our top line at least. I'm pretty confident on that. The order book currently is very, very good. And a lot of tenders are in the pipeline. Almost 4,500 crores tenders are either live or will be quoted in next couple of months. So order book position will also improve dramatically, which is not very bad as of now, and it will further improve dramatically in next 3 to 4 months. So we should do 1,200 crores is the guideline what I can get. The same kind of
with the EBITDA of 16% approximately.
Yeah.
Okay. That was really helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. A reminder to the participants, anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 now. The next question is from the line of Isha Savla from Arya Securities. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir. So I wanted to know that what are the receivable days during quarter 3 and 9 months, and how is our overall working capital cycle currently?
It's almost same. Basically, it's almost our working capital cycle is almost 200 days, and it's almost same right now also.
Okay, sir. So does the company expect any working capital cycle improvement in years ahead, considering that the government may, allocate a separate corpus for smart meters?
At least for coming 1 or 2 quarters, we are not seeing that. Depending how the budget comes and how the government is taking funding for these smart meters and all. But at least for 1-2 quarters, we are not seeing that.
And are we expecting any improvement in the operating margins going forward as the operating leverage kicks in, and what will be the sustainable EBITDA margin over medium term?
16% we have given just a guidance for the next year that we will be doing. We will be surely doing a top line of 1,200 crores with the EBITDA margin guidance of 16%. If that the top line increases, there might be an improvement in EBITDA margins also because of the numbers and all. But right now, being very conservative, and as the government is giving a very big number for the smart meters, so these top line numbers can be far higher than what we are expecting of 1,200 crores. So if that goes up, then the EBITDA margins can also go up from that levels.
Oh, okay, sir. That's very great. And sir, what is the share of FMS in our total revenue, and what are the margin in the FMS business?
FMS, we will see most of the projects where we are doing end-to-end solution. So there only we get the FMS kind of a work. And the FMS is all, generally 7 to 10% of the total contract value, depends on the kind of contract we are doing. So right now the FMS revenue is very, very low because most of these projects, the prime FMS will start from next financial year. So exact number I don't have currently, but it is quite negligible as of now. But from next year, I see Venus, if I see the financial year 21-22, where a lot of these key projects we have, where we are providing end-to-end solution, a lot of FMS work will start from the second half of the year. So from revenues, I am expecting a revenue of at least 20-25 crores in next financial year from the FMS work.
Okay, sir.
And basically we participate as a single tender. So there is no separately that FMS is participated separately. It's a total unit participation. So we see the margin as a whole. We don't see when we calculate, we certainly calculate always service giving things are better margin giving. But when we calculate, when we participate, we put it as a whole always.
Okay, sir. So can we expect a market share of approximately 8 to 10% in total revenue in next year?
Market share of FMS?
Yeah, in total revenue, in our total revenue.
No way.
5%.
Not even 5%.
No.
Because FMS is very few projects where we have FMS. And a lot of these projects, the FMS work will start from the second half of next year.
Okay, sir. And
as I told you, even the number, we are expecting at least we will do 1,200 crores in the top line. And FMS billing will be in the tune of 25-30 crores. So it is 2 to 3% more than that.
Okay, sir. Fair enough. And sir, what is the share of smart meters in our quarter 3 FY21 revenue, and in our outstanding, what is our outstanding order book in smart meters?
If you see the outstanding order book, it is mainly smart meters only. I'll give you the exact numbers. So out of the 1,005 crores orders we have in hand, 600 crores are from smart meters. 650 crores to be more precise.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. We would request the participants to please press star and 1 to ask a question. The next question is from the line of Keshav Garg from PPIPL. Please go ahead.
Sir, I wanted to understand that with this demerger, sir, all the unlisted as well as listed investment, I think in Genus Paper we have some investment. So everything will go out and we will just remain a standalone metering business without any investments, any strategic investments, I mean, not mutual funds, etc.
No. Only non-listed entities investments are going. Listed entities investment, actually there is a trust. There is a trust in the company which holds 2 shares, one of the company Genus Power itself and one Genus Paper. So that trust is not going out. That trust is not the part of strategic division, and that is not going out.
Okay, sir. As far as the treasury shares of our own company are concerned, sir, that's fine. But sir, I mean, why not?
Even Genus Paper, that treasury share of our own company and Genus Paper both are held by a trust, which is a part of the company, and that trust is not going out of the company. As so, there is no listed company shares going out of the company with this demerger.
Okay, sir. Sir, and also wanted to understand that for next financial year, sir, you are giving a guidance of 1,200 crore.
Yeah.
Is that correct, sir?
Yes.
Okay, sir. And sir, this will be predominantly smart meter only?
Yeah, predominantly smart meters.
Okay, sir. And sir, has any new player entered the smart meter sector, or I mean, is it the same as before?
Same as before.
Okay, sir. And sir, with the Chinese entities being barred from participating, Sir, so so do you see the margins going up or the competitive intensity coming down? Sir, basically, would you like to elaborate on that?
There are enough Indian companies in the country. Chinese are trying to enter through the EESL mode, except that they were never there in any of the state electricity boards. So all the SEB's business was anyway with the Indian company, because that is not easy for anybody coming from outside to do. And after this barring has happened, even Chinese, the doors in EESL is also closed for Chinese. So I don't see any major change in terms of competition, because Chinese are coming or not coming. Life remains almost the same.
Okay, sir. And sir, in your investor presentation, it is mentioned that there are plans to install up to 13 crore smart meters by 2021. So basically, if that materializes in this current year, sir, then I mean, shouldn't we far surpass our 1200 crore guidance?
Even 20% of this gets materialized will be super good. This is what I can say.
Sir, and basically for FY 23 and 24, so basically our turnover has been flat since a long time. So you think that finally we will break out of this, range that we are stuck around 1,000 crore?
We are very, very positive on the smart metering side. Unfortunately, due to this whole journey got slow. We all have to understand the biggest hit section in the country. If you see the overall scenario of the country, the majorly hit segment has been the transmission and distribution segment of the country, the T&D, which is where we are. We are primarily a distribution segment company. And distribution is hit very, very badly, because all these state electricity boards have seen a very, very tough time from March to till now. Now we are seeing a lot of recovery in the industry is happening, and their billing cycles are improving, their revenues are improving. So since our segment was hit very, very badly, which has already been delayed, the smart metering, the overall planning of the smart meter from central government to all the SCBs, it got delayed by almost 12 months. So now, as we all know, smart metering is a very, very major focus area of the government, and which is visible in their action. Today, Mr. Alok Kumar becoming Secretary Power Government of India is a clear-cut indication given by the Ministry of Power that we are very serious on the smart metering. You know, that gentleman has been holding was the main flag bearer when it comes to smart metering in India. He was the first guy who gave orders of 4 million smart meters in UP. And out of these 4 million meters, almost 2 million meters have been installed. So he is one gentleman who defied all the rules and told, okay, smart metering is the backbone for the success of distribution companies in the country, for the revival of the distribution companies in the country. So these are the actions which are visible from the government also, okay, how serious they are on the smart metering project. So definitely it is super delayed. We have been talking about it from last 2-3 years, but I see a lot of things happening, hopefully, in next 12 months.
Okay, sir. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. We would request the participants to please press star and 1 to ask a question. The next question is from the line of Mitesh Seth from Radan Securities. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir. Good evening. So I have just one data point question. How many number of the shares we are holding in the treasury of the Genus Power company, and are there any plans to like place it or get, to monetize those shares? Is this possible?
The number is almost around 2.8 crore shares treasury is holding of Genus Power. And the company right now has no plans to monetize it, because company is basically already sitting on some cash. Then it's a net debt, zero debt company. So company don't require any cash, and for future growth also, or whatever the growth is coming, we don't see any requirement of any money to the company. So we don't see any monetization of it in the current next 1 or 2 years.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. A reminder to the participants, anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 now. The next question is from the line of Arush Oberoi from Victor Delta Securities. Please go ahead.
Hello. Hi, sir. So, I'd like to know that what is the worth of tenders in the company has already participated?
Can you repeat your question, please?
The worth of tenders in which the company has already participated.
Right now, there are tenders of worth 1,800 crores which are live, which are already participated. And there are tenders of 3,000 crores which are to be participated in next 2 months, which are already floated. NITs have been out, and due dates are anywhere from 5 days to 10 days to maximum 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
So currently, 1,800 crores are already quoted, and almost 3,000 crores will be quoted in next maximum 30 to 45 days.
Okay. And any forthcoming tenders in the pipeline other than that?
Currently, if I see the forthcoming tenders, there are 4 or 5 very large tenders which will be coming. So I am pretty, as I told earlier also, in next 2 to 3 months, the number of opportunities which are coming in the market, I think order book and things will become smooth. We are late by 12 months, but yes, next 3 to 6 months, this will become pretty smooth for the industry overall.
Okay. So, when are these contracts or tenders likely to be awarded? And what is the order inflow is the company targeting to get from these tenders?
Generally, we always target our share of 45% from all the businesses what we quote and do. So we continue to focus our target, and till now we have been achieving that.
Okay. So, I would like to know that what are the out of the total tenders that we have bidded, what is the share of smart meters and conventional meters?
Currently, the tenders which are live, which are already participated or which are under testing or price bid is getting opened or will get opened. So for smart meters, that value is 575 crores. Okay. Out of 1,800. And the remaining around 1,200 crores is conventional meters. There are a lot of conventional meter tenders which came in last 6 to 8 months. And to be participated, there is a value of 1,680 crores precisely for the smart meter. And for conventional meter, the tenders which have already been not quoted, but they are already been, the NITs has been floated by the government, is around 1,300 crores.
Okay. That was quite helpful. So another thing, what is our current capacity utilization?
Currently, it is very, very low. As we all know, the numbers are pretty less. The capacity utilization is pretty low right now.
Okay. And when is the volume of take likely to reach the pre-COVID levels?
I would say in this quarter, there will be a healthy recovery. There will be a very healthy recovery from this quarter. This is visible to us currently. A lot of installations which are going very, very slow, especially Rajasthan and Tamil Nadu, Haryana, UP. I am seeing a lot of recovery in all these states. Maharashtra is still very, very slow, which is very surprising. West Bengal is in the election mode, so they are in a different zone altogether right now. But a lot of other states have really recovered well, except Maharashtra, Kerala. South has not recovered the way we expected it to be. So they are a little slow in recovery, but a lot of states have recovered pretty well.
Okay. And lastly, what is the peak revenue we can generate with our current infrastructure?
Peak revenue we can generate with this kind of infrastructure. What do you think, Kalasa?
2,000 crores plus we can easily with the current infrastructure.
Yeah, comfortably we can do that.
Okay. That was helpful, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Manish Goyal from Enam Holdings. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much. Sir, just want to clarify from the previous question on the smart meter share in the tender. You mentioned 575 crores of smart meters out of 1,500 crores, sir, which are already quoted?
Out of 1,800 crores.
1,800 crores. And from the tenders which are yet to be quoted, how much is that, sir, smart meters?
So yet to be quoted is around 3,000 crore. Out of that, 1,350 crores to 1,400 is conventional, and 1,650 to 1,700 is smart meter. I'm talking of the estimated value.
Correct. Okay. And does this include also any potential order, tenders from EESL?
None of them is from the EESL right now.
Okay, sir.
Initially, they came out with some of the queries, but they all have been dropped. So currently, the opportunities which I'm talking, I'm not talking EESL.
Okay. And sir, just want to get you did mention that margins would be at 16% for next year. So is it after factoring that the commodity inflation, what we are seeing currently, as well as on the other side, shortage of chips for the electronic industry? So have we factored that, or how is it? If you can
Yes. You will see that if you see the last quarter's numbers, or even we have not achieved the full productions or full numbers. Still, our margins are almost around 17-18%. So we absolutely see that there will be an impact due to raw material from 3 to 4%. But right now, that will be covered. Number one, once our volumes will be increased, our production will be increased. So we will be getting around 2.5% from that. And already we are giving you a guidance almost 1.5% lesser than what we are achieving. So we have already factored in this 16%. We have already factored everything, whatever the impact of 3 to 4% raw material is coming on because of these chips and everything. So basically, we expect a belt next year also, but to be conservative and after factoring everything, every raw material things and all, 16% is easily achievable.
Sure, sir. And on the competition intensity, how are we seeing, sir, in the current tenders and the forthcoming tenders? I don't know if you answered that, but I'm sorry if I'm repeating.
Competition is very much there, Manishji. A lot of intense competition, which we have been fighting for decades now. So we are well prepared.
There is no new competition. We can say that it's a normal competition which was there earlier also.
Yeah.
So now these tenders, basically, is it that neighboring countries like China cannot participate in the tenders now very clearly?
Yes, most of the tenders nowadays, so they even write you have to declare what percentage of Chinese components you are using in the tenders. So I've gone through that level. Most of the tenders have come with this criteria, which is also helping a company like Genus very strongly, because we are probably one of the very, very few companies, or maybe the only company in the country, where the Chinese raw material content is lowest by far than the competition.
Sure, sir. Okay, sir, and just last question on, so this year, the first 9 months, the revenue is nearly 400 crore plus. So, and our quarterly run rate or quarterly revenues in Q3 was roughly 170 odd crores. So, as per press release, can we what kind of revenue can we probably end up for FY21? Because no doubt we have given guidance of FY22, but just want to get a sense as to what can we end for FY21.
Anything between say fourth quarter will be around anything between 225 to 250 crores. So lowest will be 225 and highest can be 250, seeing the current scenario, seeing the installation things and all. So right. Whatever we have done plus 225 is the lower side and 250 will be the higher side for this quarter.
Great, sir. Thank you so much for all the answers. Thank you.
Thank you. A reminder to the participants, anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 now. The next question is from the line of Vineet Agrawal from SKP Securities. Please go ahead. Mr. Agrawal, your line is in talk mode. You can go ahead, please.
All my questions are answered. Please, thank you.
Thank you. A reminder to the participants, anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and one now. The next question is from the line of Girish Gulati from Quality Capital. Please go ahead.
Sir, good afternoon. My question is regarding it's just I need a general outlook of what is exactly happening in the gas industry and where Genus can participate. And a few days back, there has been an announcement of gas exchange. So just want to understand the gas dynamics, what will happen in the country in next 2 to 3 to 5 years, and can Genus play a big role in the gas dynamics of the country? Please. Thank you.
So as I shared earlier also, we have been working on this product last 2 to 3 years. We are already there in the market with some pilot projects being completed. And because of the success of the pilot project, now we started getting some good numbers. I just shared that we received the order of 10,000 meters from Green Energy, which is a good beginning for us. So which is, I won't say a very, very large order, but a significantly good order where we will establish further in the gas meter market. Because we are doing only, we are very clear that our focus in the gas meters is on the AMI side, where we bring a lot of value. As a electricity metering company, we are very strong in communication. And all these models what are being coming in the now, gas metering pipeline is a reality. A lot of privatization has happened, as you all know. Torrent and Adani has been the major players in the country. And fortunately, we already deal with both these companies for electricity metering. So for us, it becomes a very sweet spot when it comes to customer. And all the other companies also mostly are government companies and institutional business, which is very much our capability to handle. Genus is prime focusing on AMI, that is the long-term future for a company like us, where we bring in a lot of value as a communication company, because most of these gas meters are, government is giving a clear guideline that it is the choice of the gas trading company, how they want to read the meters. And getting into the kitchen of every household is not going to be easy. This is where a lot of AMI role will come into the picture. So we see Genus playing a very good role in times of I have given some guidelines in the past also. I am being a conservative individual, so I don't want to give a very large number, but yes, Genus playing a very strong role in the industry of 800 to 1,000 crores in next 2 to 3 years is what we expect it to be.
All right. And so one more thing, you mentioned that 2,000 crore turnover can be achieved on the current capacity. And internally, what would be our target of reaching that 2,000 crore number? And secondly, how would be the interest outgo look like when we reach 2,000 crore turnover?
Interest?
Outgo.
Interest on capital?
Interest outgo. Currently, I think on 1,000 crore revenue, our interest outgo has been some, or the finance cost, I would rename it as 230. So I was actually looking at the capital efficiency.
Basically,
yeah, please,
2,000 crores, the way the government is talking about and the way the things are moving, if what government is talking will be on the floor, it can happen in next 2 to 3 years very comfortably and very easily. We can even touch in 23 or for sure in 24 these 2,000 numbers. But in any case, we are not seeing any drastic change in working capital things and all. So there will be certainly an improvement in working capital cycle. So when we say today our working capital cycle is 200 days, it might come to 160 days or 170 days. For sure it won't be coming to 100 days or like that. So there will be, you can say that whatever there is a spending on 1,000 crores, interest outgo on 1,000 crores, it will be almost 1.6, 1.7 times of that in 2000.
1.7 times of that. Okay.
1.6 to 1.7 times of that. Because there will be an improvement in working capital cycle. We are sure that it will be improved by 20 to 25% number of days.
Overall or on the incremental part?
Overall. It will be on overall. It can't be like incremental or there is nothing like incremental or no incremental. It will be improvement on overall if it happens.
All right. Thank you, sir. That answered my query. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Mr. Vijay Bhayani from Samyak Financial Consultants. Please go ahead.
We have appointed 2 new independent directors on the board, and both seem
Sorry,
to have...
Vijay, we could not hear. I could not hear you properly. Can you please...
I wanted to ask about the 2 new directors which are appointed on the board, and both have very fabulous profile. Can you explain what kind of role will they be playing in our operations going forward?
Like Mr. Subhash Chandra Garg, he is an independent director. So basically, he will be acting as an independent director and seeing will be looking at, can be the head of financial committees also of the company and guiding the company with his experience. Because being company is doing most of the government businesses and all, and he has a big experience of government things and all. So basically, his coming in the company as an independent director will help us more to deal with the government and to be more financially disciplined and everything by him. And when we talk about Dr. Keith, he is basically he has a big experience of 25 years in with LNG, which is one of the biggest metering company in the world. And he's JK, I think you can better tell him about Keith, more better.
No, absolutely. So, Dr. Keith taught me, the beginning also, Vice Chairman shared about his background. It's a big, I would say, achievement for us to have Dr. Torpil as part of GNS now. He comes with a humongous technical knowledge and a background from the world market. So 2 great values he brings in. On the EMI side, he brings in the complete end-to-end solution. He was the innovation head for Landis & Gyr. So he brings in a tremendous value and working closely with CTO where the direction of the company should go. And because now we are moving from a product company to a complete solution company. Until now, a lot of solutions in software we are also outsourcing. In the times to come, GNS has to become an absolutely self-dependent company where the complete solution is also provided by GNS. And a lot of investments we are doing on the software side and on the solution development. Dr. Keith Torpil will play a major role in guiding us in the right direction there. With the kind of experience he comes in. And the way he has the network all across the globe, he will also be in a great position in which we are already feeling in just last 2-3 weeks after he has been part of the company, that suddenly there is a buzz and the response system of some of the people has improved. They are seeing GNS as a very strong technical capable company because Dr. Keith Torpil will not become part of a company where he is not sure that yes, I'll be able to guide them in the right way, and they are a company who has the capability to because it took us like the discussions are going on from last 3 to 4 months with Dr. Torpil, and he has also done a lot of homework before he became part of GNS. For him, becoming a part of a company is also very important in the kind of career, in the first career he has. So he will bring in a lot of value for our innovation and development future ahead of us.
I would like to add that it will give a big chance to GNS for increasing its global footprints because Dr. Keith has almost worked a lot in America, Australia, and most of the time he was traveling to a different parts of the world with LNG. And secondly, our CTO, Chief Technical Officer, Mr. Anukran Mishra, has worked in LNG with Dr. Keith. So they have very good that's why Dr. Keith has joined us as a non-independent director, as a all-time he will be providing full guidance to that.
Yes. So further to what you already was saying, I want to understand what kind of time are they expected to spend specifically for Venus Power? Will Dr. Keith be visiting here? How often? And is there any kind of understanding about what kind of deliverables are they expected to give add value to Venus Power? The time and any kind of deliverables which you understood with them.
Dr. Torpy, he's one guy which I have realized that he loves to work on the ground. So because of the COVID situation, he's unable to travel right now. But he will be traveling at least once a quarter, and if need be, he's more than happy to come even 6 times in a year and spend considerable time with the R&D team physically. At the same time, yes, he is available. But if you talk only of the arrangement, he is available with us at least 6 to 8 working days in a month, where we can have full day with him. We can be with him online. And plus, it's very difficult to define actually how he will be able to support, because I've seen his style of working in last 3 weeks itself. He's very demanding and very up to the task.
And by
which is very, very good for the company.
His deliverables will be extending the global footprints of Genus and bringing a lot of new technology things in Genus, which will help Genus to grow globally also and domestically also.
Excellent. So that means that going forward we can expect exports also. If not in the next couple of quarters, but over a period of time, export also to pick up significantly, right? So right now the FY22 target that we have given of 1,200 crore, that is your conservative number, plus in case these numbers really accelerate, then you can achieve higher than that. And further to that, can we expect surprise in terms of exports also to be much higher?
Your voice is not clear, Vijay. I don't.
Okay, so just wondering if Mr. Keith will also help us accelerate our export strategy.
Yes, for sure.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Thank you. We take the last question from Keshav Garg from PPIPL. Please go ahead.
Sir, wanted to understand that after the demerger, what kind of net cash or net debt the company will have?
Demerger has nothing to do with debt or cash. There is no cash outgoing from the company with demerger, and there is no debt outgoing from the company with demerger. It's just the investment that is going out. So there will be no change in debt or cash position of the company after this demerger.
Okay, sir. So in that case, we are already net debt free. And sir, our share is trading below book value, and sir, at the same level that it was trading 14 years back. So if you could consider a share buyback, so then it will reduce the number of shares outstanding, and whatever growth you are expecting in future will get divided on a smaller base of share. So I think that will be probably the best thing. So even if a small share buyback, if you could consider, I think that will be great for shareholders.
Keshavji, I will put your idea surely to the board, and let's see what we all the board, and we will surely give a thing to that.
Okay, so thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. That was the last question. I would now like to hand the conference over to Mr. Kailash Agarwal for closing comments.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and we are very hopeful that the things will improve, and from the fourth quarter, whatever the guidance we have given and whatever the guidance the company has given for next financial year, we will do better than that. I wish you all the best. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. On behalf of Genus Power Infrastructures Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.